Hi guys, I'm Lamar Francois and I thought I'd just put together a video. So put together first off a couple of videos reviewing 2020, and in this one I'm going to focus more about me and my experiences as a creative, dealing with the pandemic and how it has affected what I do, and some things that I've been able to learn along the way. And I'll be doing another video which is just focused on just sharing some of the things that I saw throughout the year. I haven't, as you can imagine, haven't been able to travel much, so it's been very focused around Nottingham and how Nottingham has sort of responded to COVID-19 and some of the things that has happened. So just to begin, I'll talk a little bit about the beginning of the year. Was for me, beginning of 2020 was quite busy. I had to end 2019, I had been doing a lot of work, a lot of events work. I was very busy coming towards the end of 2019, and then 2020 as well. I had another job at the University of Nottingham, and I was doing more with that uh, as well. And I just sort of was very busy. And going into lockdown one was incredibly chaotic. I had a situation where a client um, gave the go-ahead for a job which would have been based in a restaurant in Birmingham. That opportunity was given the go-ahead, and then about maybe 7-8 hours later, um, Boris Johnson announced that restaurants were to close with almost near immediate effect, and then suddenly the client sort of came back and said that can't suddenly happen anymore. And it was very chaotic, as you can probably imagine. Everything sort of fell by the wayside very quickly. A job I had at the University of Nottingham, that's something that also sort of stopped. And so up against that backdrop, I found lockdown one very helpful. So I was very relieved to be able to take a break, sort of stop for a bit, have no sort of external expectations really. For a couple of months, I was just sort of doing some other things as well, playing video games on my PC being one, and sort of baking and making lots of cookies and bread and just exploring things. And I just sort of was an opportunity that I had for the first time since pretty much I graduated from university back in 2012 when everything stopped, and that was very good. Coming out of lockdown one was sort of a bit strange in a way, but I was lucky to have some opportunities. Some very good opportunities came through. One couple didn't quite work out. With a bit more luck, I might have been able to have some of my photography used for a campaign in the national newspaper, but that didn't quite work out. So coming out, but I was just so relieved to come out of sort of lockdown one. It was good to sort of see the world again. We also got some unique and interesting images out of the Eat Out to Help Out scheme. So seeing things like streets in Nottingham and in the UK, sort of almost like Spain, where people are sort of like eating out late into the night. Got a few sort of interesting views about that. Going to lockdown two was much more difficult for me. I work sort of dried up right around the start of lockdown two. I was finding that sort of quite tough to do, with also the students coming back to Nottingham, and then coronavirus skyrocketing in Nottingham. From a sort of health point of view, I'm lucky, but I don't think I've been affected yet so far. But that was very tough. But a few weeks into that, I got some good news, and what's really helped me is that I've been able to sort of do some work with an interesting project. So 2020 did end on a good note, and going into sort of lockdown three has been interesting. It's not been sort of so bad so far, so somewhere between the my experience of lockdown one, lockdown two, although I'm finding it a bit more difficult to sort of keep my creative motivations. But I have been able, one thing that has helped, I've been able to do some stuff with a local church and forward-thinking sort of led by a very, very forward-thinking thinking pastor who I've been helping him sort of live stream some of his services, so people in the community can still receive what they can still sort of get the church experience, which has been very, very good. And being able to sort of work alongside really helpful group of people has been very, very great for me, and that's something I look forward to sort of continuing. So looking at what did I learn in 2020? What did all this sort of thing teach me? First thing is I've sort of had to sort of learn or begin to learn to sort of let go of a couple of things that perhaps aren't sort of serving me very well, and maybe prime amongst that is sort of like separate is that I realise I'm very sort of, I can be quite invested in terms of work and in terms of like who I am as a person. So sometimes I've sort of had to learn how to compartmentalise the success of, say, the business that I run and who I am as a person, and seeing that those two sort of don't sort of define me. It's been tough. It's been like I've been making photographs since 2008 when I was sort of 18 years old, so an awful long time, and sort of learning how to sort of compartmentalise that aspect. Also, compartmentalising the professional side of what I do has really been sort of helpful. So I've been able to sort of get clearer boundaries and be sort of more effective. I've also been able to sort of use the opportunities to do a bit of learning as well. Been doing a lot of work with an excellent group, which is an excellent company called the Design Trust, and it's led by a very interesting woman, Patricia Vaneka. She's been I've been doing some workshops to help me sort of sharpen up, help me develop my skills further, so I can do more with the work that I do, and hopefully make it. Hopefully, when the my aim is when the pandemic lifts, I want to increase my profile quite a bit, so that is more, so my work is more sustainable in the future, and that's something I've been sort of working towards. But yeah, so just sort of like dealing with the also another challenge is sometimes the lack of structure. Like I mentioned before, going from being very sort of busy for 7-8 years to suddenly not having an awful lot to do has been in a way sort of quite a challenge, but that's also given me an opportunity to look at the way I sort of plan and organise things a bit better, so I can do a few more things. So looking forward to 2021. What I really want to work on is seeing if there's ways I can sort of share more of my knowledge and more of my craft that I've learned as a photographer, and I'm looking at I've been looking at trying to find opportunities to do that. So maybe looking at maybe doing tutorials, workshops, online sort of doing sort of like online live image editing, where I sort of give people advice. These are things that I'm sort of interested in developing throughout the year. I'm also going to look at seeing if I can figure out see if I can get my work to figure out some idea like a Patreon sort of thing, so I can sort of give you more art, and maybe gives me a bit of stability. I'm also planning to have a book released, hopefully in 2021, my first sort of photo book, in addition to some of the products, and also to expanding my sort of already existing range of calendars and prints that I already have on my website, as well as sort of doing more sort of work, just sort of capturing the what's happened in Nottingham. And if you've got any sort of suggestions you think that some ideas you might want me to take a look at, feel free to sort of drop me a line, to direct message me or something.